Hey everyone, welcome to Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I'm Tim Derling. Thank you for tuning in. On this episode, I'm reviewing the latest album from Queensryche called The Verdict. Now, it's been quite a while. It's been almost 4 years since the last new Queensryche album came out called Condition Human. Matt and I did an extensive look at that album along with the 2013 album with Todd La Torre, the self-titled album. At the same time, looking at Jeff Tate's output with, not only the album he put out as Queensryche, Frequency Unknown, and his first album is Operation Mindcrime. We covered that back then. And it's been a long time coming for this album. There's a few things to talk about here besides the album itself. Once again, this was the third time around that the band went to PledgeMusic to campaign for pre-orders of the album and different packages, including getting your name in the credits, etc., etc. Unfortunately, anyone who was affected by this knows all too well, PledgeMusic kind of went under. And the band wrote the money, and fans are not going to get the things they pledged for. And not to give myself any credit, it just turned out that way. I didn't pledge for this one this time around. I figured I would just get it at a store or at Amazon or, whatever the case may be. I'm really glad I didn't. It hasn't been that long since I got something from PledgeMusic. I got the cassette of The Darkness live at Hammersmith, copy for me, and then I gave one to Matt. But after that, things went really sour, and the band's out. It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate turn of events. But the album's out, and this is what I think of it. First thing I'll show you is the vinyl version of The Verdict, which of course I'm not opening, but as usual, very cool with the artwork. The Verdict. This one is on red smoke vinyl. There are some versions of this that come with a CD. This one does not. And once again, third time around, they're also still on Century Media Records. Just 10 songs on this album, so it's a single, thankfully. That helps with the price a little bit. It's just a single record set. Cool artwork to have. And I also ordered the Deluxe version of the CD, and like the 2013 version, it comes in a little box. So the Queensryche logo right in the middle there. It's the side of it, and here's the back of it. So this is the new CD plus a bonus CD and some goodies inside of this too. So it opens up like this. It doesn't lift completely off. It opens like that. And first thing I'll show you is the CDs themselves. That's the main CD. This is like the jewel case one that you just buy by itself, or there's probably a digipack version of it too, but this is the thing I'll be talking about the most. This is a bonus disc, which I want to get into as well. But what else came with this? Like the other items, or like the other albums, there's a Century Media order form. Honestly, Queensryche are the only band on Century Media that I follow. Another patch with the Queensryche logo on it. A magnet. I always thought magnets next to CDs were bad, but it must be alright. And a bottle opener, which also looks like an old-fashioned pin on the back. You can see it's a bottle opener. So let's talk about the album itself. If you're a fan of the last two albums with Todd La Torre on vocals, I can't see you being disappointed in this one. It's very much in the vein of those last two albums. I've listened to it a couple times now. It's heavy. The band sounds great. Now, what's different, very, very different about this, significantly, is that Todd La Torre not only provides the lead vocals on this album, but he also drums on this album. For the very first time, not counting Frequency Unknown, of course, but for the very first time in their career, Scott Rockenfield does not appear on this album. He's missing in action from Queensryche. He took some time off to care for his young son, and that situation has never changed. And they haven't heard from him, and not sure. It just so happens that Todd is an accomplished drummer in his own right, so he capably handles all the drums on this. Other than that, the lineup is the same. It's still Michael Wilton and Eddie Jackson on guitar and bass, the core original members of the band. Now there's just two core original members, and Parker Lundgren on guitar. So it was a four-piece Queensryche that put this album together. Again, produced by Seuss, the same guy that did their last album, not the self-titled one, but Condition Human. And here are, those are the track listings there. Again, very heavy. The first two songs, Blood of the Levant, I'm not sure how to say that, and Man the Machine, listen to those in advance. Like them both very, very much. So here's the CD itself. I'm not overly familiar with the band Testament, but this reminds me of their album cover, Souls of Black, very much. And I'm sure there's some other people that are making that connection too, some old school metalheads. That's what the back of the CD tray looks like. So here's a booklet to The Verdict. Lyrics to all the songs, and no pictures, of course, because Scott Rockenfield is not there. I combed through this, and unless I missed something, I know my eyesight isn't what it used to be. I did not see Scott Rockenfield's name mentioned anywhere here. No thanks, no, missing our brother Scott, none of that. And I don't want to get into a blabbermouth, situation here, but I think they might be a little miffed. I don't know. They got a guy named, I believe his name is Casey Grillo, who's handling drums on tour, because obviously Todd's the front man, and he can't be singing the way he sings and drumming the way that these, the Queensryche music requires. So a really good album, and if this is the version you get, that's, you got everything you need here for new Queensryche music. Again, very much in the vein of their 2013 self-titled album, and also Condition Human. They've kept a pretty consistent level. Time will tell how this one rates. I still have a soft spot for that first one, but which also I have a very similar box version of this, and you can see that on our older video. If you just type in Tim's Vinyl Confessions Queensryche, all of the Queensryche related videos that we've done are on there. So there, it's almost begs the thing, here's the verdict on The Verdict. Well, I'm not going to say it. Verdict, very good. So now I want to talk about the bonus CD. This actually says The Verdict Masterpiece Edition. This CD has 9 tracks on it, and they're broken up into 3 different categories. And I'll talk about that in a bit. There's the disc itself. Essentially, it's exactly like the other disc. It's just there's no color. There's no red in it. It's the same, pretty much the same imagery. So there is a band photo here. My bad. But what's interesting about this is that this CD actually mentions Scott Rockenfield, and there's a very good reason for that. So there's 9 tracks in here, as I said. The first 2 songs are acoustic re-recordings of older Queensryche songs. A song that I always love when it gets some attention, because it's one of my favorites from Rage for Order, called I Dream in Infrared. Excellent acoustic version of that here. It's great to hear Todd singing older material. He does it so well. And the final song from the 2013 album, Open Road. I love that song too. There's an acoustic version of that. A nice touch, tracks 3, 4, and 5 are songs that I kind of forgot about. I just got the standard version of Condition Human. Unlike Matt, I actually didn't get the vinyl of that, at least not yet, but I didn't get it when it came out. There are 3 songs here that were recorded and available on some of the deluxe versions of that album: 46 Degrees North, Mercury Rising, and it's Espirita Muerto. I think that means dead spirit. Very much puts you right back to the Condition Human album, and also reinforces Todd La Torre's a fine drummer, but I want Scott to come back. He's got such a unique style. His use of the real crash, the really quick decay cymbals, and just his overall busyness on the drums. You can hear the difference. Todd's a great drummer, and it's fine for this new album. And hopefully this Casey guy, if he becomes a full-time member of the band, who knows, he's got more of that Rockenfield busyness, because I think it's an important part of the Queensryche sound. You really hear it here. And the last 4 songs are curious, because they're 2012 live recordings. When the Queensryche split was first kind of happening, the band, as it was then, minus Jeff Tate, called themselves Rising West, and did some shows where they did strictly older Queensryche material, to great response. I mean, Todd sings like a man possessed here. They really had something to prove, and I hope that I'd really like to have them put this out as a complete live album, because I can't imagine they just recorded a few songs. Now, the first of these 3 songs, Queen of the Reich and Force and Prophecy, if you got the deluxe version of the self-titled album in 2013, they appear there. So these are the same versions. But they also throw in Eyes of a Stranger from Operation Mindcrime. So that appears, for the first time I've heard that, is here. And I think the reason that they chose the first 3 to go on their album in 2013 is they really wanted to reinforce, we're back playing this older material when you come see us live. Just my opinion. So a worthy companion to The Verdict. It's not an album, in its own right, but a good companion piece to this. So like I said, if you're a fan of the new Queensryche, if you broke off with Geoff Tate and followed what he did, and you're not on board with what they're doing now, then you won't like this anymore. Then I can't see why you'd like this and not like the other 2. If you're like me and you like it all, you just kind of follow it all. Although I don't know what Geoff Tate's going to do next. I think he said he was done with recording albums as Operation Mindcrime, so we'll wait and see on that. But this is a fine addition to the Queensryche catalog. I hope it does well for them. I know that they're kind of, they've got an unfortunate mountain of debt to crawl out of because of this PledgeMusic debacle, and hopefully things get settled there. So, but the music's out, the album's out. If you see it, go and get it. That's my opinion, my review of Queensryche's The Verdict. Thanks for watching Tim's Vinyl Confessions.